There is a sound that haunts the collective memory of the 90s generation. It is not a melody, nor a lyric, but a rhythm. A low, resonant, tribal beating that seems to emanate not from a speaker, but from the very ground beneath one's feet. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. This is the heartbeat of Jumanji, the 1995 cinematic marvel directed by Johnston, a film that is often mistaken for a mere family adventure but is, in truth, a psychological thriller wrapped in the guise of a board game. To understand Jumanji is to understand that the game does not merely exist to be played. It exists to teach, to terrify, and ultimately, to heal the broken timelines of those foolish enough to roll the dice. The story begins not with whimsy, but with a burial. The year is 1869, and two boys are burying a chest with the frantic desperation of those disposing of a radioactive isotope. This prologue sets a tone of grim foreboding that permeates the entire film. When we jump forward a century to 1969, we are introduced to young Alan Parrish, a boy suffocated by the weight of his family name and the stern, unyielding expectations of his father, Sam Parrish. The film brilliantly establishes the emotional stakes before a single jungle creature appears. Alan is a boy who feels powerless, bullied by peers and misunderstood by his father. When he discovers the board game in the excavated earth of a construction site, it is not a discovery of wonder, but a siren call. The game attracts the lonely. It calls to those who wish to escape their reality, and Alan, in his desperation, answers. The brilliance of the screenplay lies in its cruelty. When Alan and his friend Sarah Whittle sit down to play, the game does not offer them a fun diversion. It offers them a sentence. The text that appears in the crystal center of the board, "In the jungle, you must wait until the dice read 5 or 8, is one of the most terrifying sentences in children's cinema. In a flash of terrifying primitive magic, Alan is liquefied and sucked into the board, leaving Sarah alone with the trauma of witnessing her friend's erasure. This is the narrative engine of Jumanji, the loss of time. When the film jumps again to 1995, we see the consequences of that role. The Parrish mansion is a rotting, ivy-strangled husk, a physical manifestation of the tragedy that destroyed the family. The town of Brantford has collapsed into economic ruin, mirroring the collapse of the Parrish dynasty. The game didn't just take a boy, it took the soul of the community. Enter Judy and Peter Shepherd, the new generation of players. They, too, are marked by tragedy, having lost their parents in a car accident. They are cynical, guarded, and entirely unprepared for the madness they unearth in the attic. When they resume the game, they do not just release mosquitoes or monkeys, they release Robin Williams. The performance of Williams as the adult Alan Parrish is nothing short of a masterclass in manic pathos. He is not simply playing a man-child, he is playing a Vietnam War veteran of the mind. He has spent 26 years in a hellscape where everything tried to kill him. When he emerges, covered in hair and leaves, shouting about Jumanji, his eyes carry a frantic intensity that anchors the film's fantastical elements in genuine human fear. He is a man unstuck in time, searching for a father who is long dead and a home that no longer exists. As the game progresses, the film transforms into a relentless escalation of chaos. This was the era of industrial light and magic flexing its muscles with computer-generated imagery, CGI. While modern eyes might find the digital monkeys slightly rubbery, in 1995, this was witchcraft. The stampede scene, where rhinos and elephants crush cars and smash through walls, is a visceral representation of nature reclaiming civilization. The boundaries between the domestic safety of the house and the savage unpredictability of the jungle dissolve completely. The house becomes a war zone. We see a monsoon flood the foyer, carnivorous vines choke the electrical wiring, and a lion claiming the bedroom. This is the visual metaphor of the film, the repressed chaos of life exploding into the controlled environment of a wealthy home. However, the true antagonist of the film is not the CGI wildlife, but the great hunter, Van Pelt. In a stroke of casting genius, Jonathan Hyde plays both Alan's distant father, Sam Parrish, and the murderous hunter, Van Pelt. This dual casting is the key to unlocking the film's deeper meaning. Van Pelt is the dark, distorted reflection of Alan's father. He is the authoritarian figure who hunts Alan down, demanding he face him like a man. Alan's journey is not just about finishing the game, it is about confronting the terror of his father's expectations. Throughout the film, Alan runs. He runs from the lion, he runs from the monkeys, and he runs from Van Pelt. But the game forces him to stop running. The climax of the movie is not the final roll of the dice, but the moment Alan drops his weapon and stands before the hunter, his hands shaking, finally willing to face the bullet. It is only when he faces his fear that the game allows him to win. The chemistry between the cast elevates the material from a special effects reel to a character drama. Bonnie Hunt provides the perfect grounding force as the adult Sarah Whittle, a woman whose life was frozen by PTSD the moment Alan vanished. Her romance with Alan is tragic and sweet, two lost souls trying to find the rhythm of a life they missed out on. Meanwhile, the relationship between Alan and the Shepherd children reverses the traditional roles. Alan is the impulsive, terrified child in a man's body, while the children are the pragmatic realists. By the end, Alan learns to be the father figure to them that he never had himself, completing his emotional arc. The resolution of Jumanji is one of the most satisfying time travel fixes in cinema history. When the winning word is spoken, Jumanji, the chaos creates a vortex that sucks the jungle, the animals, and the hunter back into the board. We are transported back to that rainy night in 1969. Alan is a child again, but he is a child with the wisdom of a 50-year-old survivor. The hug he gives his father is earned through decades of suffering. He does not just save himself, he saves the timeline. He prevents his father's business from failing, he saves his parents' lives, and he ensures a future where he and Sarah are happily married. When we see the adult Alan and Sarah in the 1995 Christmas party scene, watching out for Judy and Peter who do not remember them, it is a moment of profound grace. They are the silent guardians of a secret history, bound by a trauma that has been rewritten into a miracle. Ultimately, Jumanji endures because it respects the intelligence of its audience. It understands that a game is serious business. It acknowledges that childhood is not always sunny. It is filled with shadows, fears, and the feeling of being small in a world of giants. The film captures the terrifying exhilaration of losing control, of watching the world turn upside down, and the bravery required to set it right. As the camera pans to the board game resting half buried in the sand on a French beach, and the drums begin to beat once more, we are reminded that the chaos never truly dies. It waits. It waits for the next curious soul to ask, "What is that sound?" And that is why, 30 years later, we are still listening.